James Kaufman, World News Report today, September 9th, 2024. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an official named tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico headed up the Texas coast. We do have spaghetti models on where and at what intensity that storm is going to make landfall. They're calling this storm Francine. And Francine is almost to the Texas border. I personally will be hit with the outer bands probably starting tomorrow at some point. Now, they do have it going in, I believe, to Louisiana and continue to move it further and further towards the east. But this is a warning for Texas, Louisiana, and all the Gulf Coast states. We also have two tropical disturbances out in the Atlantic. One that very well might take over the one in front of it. We have one with a 60% chance of formation, and following that we have a 70% chance of formation. Again, two additional tropical disturbances headed towards our east coast. We're going to have to see where the spaghetti models take those as well. Over to My Fox Hurricane, where we can actually get the National Hurricane Center's official track. You can see that this thing is moving quickly. They have it turning into a Category 1 hurricane, probably this evening into tomorrow morning, and then scooting up the Texas coast, bringing rain to all of the Gulf Coast of Texas, which has been experiencing heavy rains for the last 2 weeks. And the official track has it make landfall right into Lafayette, Louisiana, that area right through there, central Louisiana. Currently, the central minimum pressure is 996 millibars, and this thing looks like it's intensifying. It's moving north-northwest at 7 miles per hour, and they have sustained winds already of 65 miles per hour. And I will say you're going to see the enhanced radar of this storm coming up next. They again have it making landfall as Category 2. I believe that that will probably strengthen into Category 3 or 4, as they just changed that number from a 1 to 2 over the last 2 hours. This report here was released about 29 minutes ago. All right, over to the enhanced satellite view. We have all this moisture hitting Mississippi, Alabama, and parts of Florida already. This is the storm that was off the coast of Texas and Louisiana for the last 2 weeks. It looks like this storm is trying to pick up some of that moisture. You can see the rotation here, definitely a tropical low, and they have very, very strong thunderstorms surrounding the center of the storm, which is starting to really form here. And you can see that some of these bands are already making hard hits on northern Mexico and I guess South Padre Island very, very shortly. This one has very good form. It is really intensified and moved quickly. And again, they have this making landfall in just 2 days as a Category 2, which I believe is an underestimated prediction. I believe this is going to make landfall as a much stronger storm than that. Just like I believe that the last storm that hit Texas was not a Category 1. It was much stronger. We saw the Weather Channel down there with a wind gauge at 135 miles per hour with steady winds as the last one made landfall, even though the National Hurricane Center called it a Category 1. All right, these are the latest spaghetti models that have been released here. As you can see, most of the models have it going into central Louisiana. Some of them have it going into New Orleans and further into Mississippi. And we have one model taking it all the way to the Florida Panhandle. So if it skirts the Texas coast with the type of bands that we just saw, and then makes impact someplace in Louisiana, well, the further it is to the east the worst off because more places will be hit, especially if this thing skirts the coast like it looks like it wants to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can see the two systems that are also in play here. One with a 50% chance of formation, the one following with a 70% chance of formation. I believe that will become one system there. Nothing's been officially named, but I do think that we have spaghetti models for this storm. And let me correct that. This is Invest 92L and was named yesterday, by the way. These are the official spaghetti models. You can see them all making a hard right, taking this storm hopefully north, and hopefully it will suck up the moisture behind it as well. This Invest 92L is the weaker of the two storms with only a 50% chance of cyclone formation. It looks like both of those storms will actually miss the east coast of the U.S. They may in fact hit the east coast of Canada or turn around altogether and head back towards Western Europe. Now, not that these storms need any help, but I thought I would remind you guys how warm the water is. The water is extremely warm in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. So as those systems coming off the coast of Africa get closer to the Lesser Antilles and into the Caribbean, even if they're north of the Caribbean, we have some very warm waters that will bring them into the East Coast unless we have a cool or cold front that shields the U.S. from those storms. Now, that would, in fact, seem to be the case with at least one of the spaghetti models of Francine, which takes the storm into the Florida Panhandle now. With all that said, we're really just getting into the peak of our hurricane season here. Hopefully everyone fill their gas tank in Texas, Louisiana, and all the Gulf Coast states and have plenty of water on hand. You can survive several days if you have water, and if you can get some non-perishables, that would be awesome as well. Make sure that they don't need to be cooked, because the chances are there's going to be a lot of electricity out along the Gulf Coast, especially in Texas and Louisiana. I personally just went and filled my tank and got some food that does not have to be cooked. With that said, God bless each and every one of you guys. Let's buckle down the hatches and let's prepare. We have another one inbound and it will make landfall as Hurricane Francine. Share, subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.